Let's call this meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Brennan.
Honorable Mayor Ron Shaver.
Here.
Councilmember Dan Marlar.
He's got an excused absence from work, or for work, because of work.
Doug Shasso.
Here.
Allison Howe.
Here.
Clint Anderson.
Here.
Lisa Northrup.
Here.
Kevin Lindell.
Present.
Okay. First on the agenda is the approval by resolution of the meetings of our January 16th, 2018 council meeting. Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Draft copy of the January 16th minutes was provided in your council packets and is presented for your approval by resolution.
Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes and have any changes or that?
No, sir.
If none,
Look good.
I would entertain a resolution approving.
Your Honor, I offer a resolution approving the minutes from the January 16th, 2018 regular city council meeting.
Second it.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
I have a resolution by Allison Howe and a second by Doug Soshow. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries on a unanimous vote of 6-0 with Councilmember Marlar absent.
Next, we have a proclamation declaring February to be General Aviation Appreciation Month. Whereas the city of Fort Morgan is in the state of Colorado has a significant interest in the continued vitality of general aviation, aircraft manufacturing, aviation educational institutions, aviation organizations, and community airports, and whereas general aviation in the city of Fort Morgan Municipal Airport are immense economic part of the city of Fort Morgan and Morgan County, and whereas Colorado is home to 61 public use airports which serve 17,583 pilots and 5,468 active general aviation aircraft. And whereas Colorado is home to 68 fixed base operators, 75 repair shops, 185 heliports, 9 FAA-approved pilot schools, 3,098 flight students, and 3,668 flight instructors. And whereas our general aviation, Colorado contributes over $2.4 billion to the state's economy. And whereas general aviation not only supports Colorado economy, it improves the overall quality of life by supporting emergency medical and health care services, law enforcement, firefighting, and disaster relief, and by transporting business travelers to their destination quickly and safely. And whereas the national aviation infrastructure represents an important public benefit and congressional oversight should be placed in this system to ensure that it remains a public system and serves communities of all sizes. Now, therefore, I, Ron Shaver, Mayor of the City of Fort Morgan, do hereby proclaim general aviation a vital strategic resource to the City of Fort Morgan and declare February as General Aviation Appreciation Month in the City of Fort Morgan. Here I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Fort Morgan to be affixed the 6th day of February 2017. Should be 18. So if we can get a new one printed up, I will make sure that the Airport Advisory Board gets this. Next, we have a presentation and possible action by resolution on bids for a sewer inspection camera system and transport van. Mr. Sagal.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm looking for authorization to replace our camera inspection equipment. Just for anyone who may not be aware, the camera system basically is used to inspect all of our sanitary sewer lines internally to look for any repair places, spots that need more maintenance, replacement, anything along those lines, to see the effectiveness of our cleaning operations, and then to do our root cutting and everything else, our general O&M. It's a very important piece of equipment, and we've had our current system since 2006, but just at this point, excuse me, we're looking at more and more operational maintenance costs. Our van, although it's only got just under 10,000 miles on it, it's increasing in maintenance due to the fact that it's a diesel and it just doesn't travel. And then it's an extremely large box van, which makes it difficult to get into our alleyways and narrow easement areas. So we're looking to replace that with a smaller transport van and a new camera system as well. And so a request for bids was placed on the city website and made available at City Council December 26th of 2017. The bid opening was held on January 11th, 2018, and the following bids were submitted. We received 2 bids, one from Williams Equipment and one from Q's Incorporated. Both of them came in under our budgeted amount, and so staff has reviewed both bids received and has come to the conclusion that although it is the higher bid, RapidView is the best system for the department. We've demoed several camera systems over 2017, and this one seems to be has the best fit for our department. And so staff is requesting council approval to accept the bid from Williams Equipment for the Ford Transit van and RapidView IBOC camera system to be utilized by the wastewater collection department in the amount not to exceed $225,000, which includes the base bid of $231,515, a trade-in allowance of $40,000 for our existing equipment, and an upgrade package for an extended warranty, camera software, and camera accessories. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Do you have the RapidView camera system in any other of your trucks, or is this the first one that you'll have?
This is the first one. We only have one camera system, so
Okay.
yes, this will be the first.
Got it. So, and your crew, was able to use that system, try it out and kind of test drive it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And everyone loved it?
Yes. Yeah. They
Loved it?
Loved it.
Okay.
Especially my lead operator. He absolutely loved it. So.
Really, really loved it that much more?
Okay, I have a few questions
Okay.
on here. The van is the same from both companies, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Williams camera is, with the trade-in, is $191,515. The other one is a $20,000 credit from Q's, and that's $188.80. And so with that, it's actually $168,800
That's correct.
with the trade-in. Okay, you had said you needed the upgrade package from there for the camera software and such as that. That doesn't come with the camera?
No, it doesn't.
What software is it? And
The software that we're looking to purchase is it's called WinCan. Our current software, the license is about to expire, and we basically would still have to. The only company that offers it is the company that we're with right now with our current camera system. So we want to streamline everything and put it all under one umbrella, so we only have one place that we need to go to if we have issues.
okay, well, I guess from my perspective, I would like you to really justify to me, because that's $56,190 difference between the two when it's all said and done.
Yes.
So
Well,
why is it that much better? I mean, that's a utility department pickup.
Well, I know with the, especially with the Q's bid, they also did not meet our actual bid specs that were in the system. I didn't include that in my memo, but we requested certain control schemes on our camera system. They were not able to meet those. And there were, among other things, I unfortunately didn't bring my bid with me, but there were a few other items that they basically said that they can work in other ways, but they did not meet what we requested in our bid. So that was one of the features, and then just the after demoing the cameras, that's the main reason we went with the higher bid, is just the features, the durability of the camera system, the longevity of it. It's local. There's several different items that we went with. So.
That's your best game. I probably have a little up on some of the rest of the council, but I'm pretty familiar with the collection side of it. I don't know, $56,000 is a pretty substantial difference in my view. Do you need that software for the Q's package also?
We would have to upgrade with that as well. We did not approach them with that, so I don't know what a quote on that would be for that, because we had already decided we were going to go with the Rapid View because of the system itself, the camera system, the equipment, all of those. So.
Is it possible, I mean, because I would tend to agree with Ron. To me, that's a lot of a difference for $40,000 for software, for that part of that software package seems like a lot. Without knowing, to me, it's difficult to make a good educated decision without knowing. I don't feel like I can compare apples to apples, so we don't know what would it cost us to be able to purchase, the camera software. Is that another $40,000, and then the bids,
Yeah. Well, the
Similar?
Did I put it in there? No, I didn't. The quote for the camera or for the software itself was just over $18,000.
that's
So-
for the Q?
That's for the WinCan software.
But if
That's
we-
just the software.
But if we were to go with the Q's system, what would that cost? So it's really, like you said, it's 188 minus the 20,000, but then it's plus, is it going to be plus some amount of money for the upgrade to the software package? Is it going to be for extended warranties, and other accessories? I mean, those are the things we need to know.
Okay. Well, and I know that Q's did not offer the extended warranties under the options, so I don't have a price for that. But we would have to upgrade our software as well with Q's, because we're still going to be under the same situation where our current license is expiring and Q's doesn't have that software either. And I know they do offer WinCan, so I don't know if they would give us a better deal on it, but I know it's going to be up around that same price, just because that's the cost of the software, unfortunately.
So if we went with the Q's system, we would still be looking to go with the Win.
Yes, WinCan, yes.
So theoretically,
Yeah, you would still be looking at probably upwards of around 18,000 with the
do you have a feel
software
for
upgrade.
How much the extended warranty was?
The extended warranty, I believe, was 9,000, I think, and it's for a 3-year warranty. So we just
We're
wanted.
talking $30,000 probably for the accessories.
Yes, and then
Regardless of which system?
we also included it's a camera weight system, because with our current system, it's really light. So the farther we go out into the pipe, we have trouble, the tractor that we have has trouble getting traction in the pipe. So we included it's a $17,000 weight kit, but it's going to increase the weight of the camera, so when we can extend our reel all the way out, which will then increase our efficiency, because we don't have to go manhole to manhole when we do our inspections. So that is another inclusion on there that I don't have. Like I said, I don't have an accessory list for Q's, because I don't believe they had one in their options.
So for both these bids, you're saying Williams, they met everything exactly?
Yes.
Like they met the bare minimum, and then that includes the weight package and the 3-year warranty?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, we added that into it.
Okay. So Q's, there's no warranty and no weight kit?
No.
So, and initially you said Q's didn't even meet
No, they
the
did
bid.
not.
So Q's is on there, but I don't think it's an accurate representation of what the department needs. So, yeah, definitely not apples to apples at all.
So
I
rough
beg to
math.
differ on that.
But, so rough math, somebody check my math. So if we're saying Williams is 231 minus the 40, so is roughly 188
191,515.
plus the 40, so that's Where does that put us? So that's plus 130 something, 130?
What do you mean? The plus
No.
40?
No, because then they're asking for the $40,000 for the camera package and the extended warranty.
So it's back to 231, 515.
Right.
Okay, so then the Q system is 180, so it's 168 plus guesstimating about $30,000 for the upgrade to the software and the camera accessories and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's going to be about that, yeah.
So that's about $200,000. So it's $31,000, because to me, I think that's more like 31,000 difference than,
Yeah, if you were to look at the base prices without the additions,
yeah,
it's,
because we didn't have the numbers in there for the Q
So
system.
what
for
is the
a camera?
warranty that comes with Qs?
I believe, like I said, I don't have the bid with me, but I believe it was a 1 to 2 year warranty, factory warranty. And then with this one, it's the same thing, 1 to 2 year, I can't remember exactly, but then of course we added a 3 year warranty onto it, just to protect the
3
equipment.
additional years? or-
3 additional years, yes.
Not that $31,000 is a whole lot different than $56,000, but,
Still not pocket change.
right. So tell me again, what does the Q system not do that would impede us from being able to do our job?
Well, it's, none of it would impede the job. It's the, basically, what it is the, one of the main things, and like I said, I don't have the sheet, I should have brought it with me, but one of the glaring things I remember is control scheme. Then there was the pressure system on the camera. I do remember that if, for some reason, the camera starts to lose pressure, that's what they do, is they seal them with pressure to keep the water from getting into them. If it starts to fail, you basically have to send that back in to have them look at the seals on it. Whereas with the Rapid View, you have a repressurizing system that you can do. So if you begin to lose pressure, you can repressurize the system. So that's another one that they didn't meet. And then our control scheme, like I said, is another one that was pretty glaring on it. So unfortunately, I can't remember all the details, but
Eric, was your department able to demo both of these?
yes.
So they got to get inside and drive them around and take them off some sweet jumps and make sure everything's going to hold up?
Yes, that's correct.
And the one that they liked better was?
The one that, they liked better, would, I think, longevity-wise and fit our needs, was definitely the Rapid View. So
How often do we have to purchase this equipment? Like, is it every 10 years, every 20 years?
I'm hoping it's going to last us a while longer now. But, I mean, we just looked at purchasing this one because, it was 10 years for it's actually 12 years for our van itself. And then the camera system, we've attempted to upgrade it throughout the years, but it's just, it doesn't meet what we need it to do. It doesn't, it's basically dropping our efficiency in the sewer department.
Okay, so 10 years is about?
10 years, longer, yeah, hopefully longer.
And our current system you bought in 2006?
Yes.
Well, I guess what I look at with it, it looks to me like the difference is probably right around $22,000 and everything. Spread out over 10 to 12 years. One thing that I remember when I told myself when I first got elected to this position is I had a friend who was in charge of the Lamar Power Company down in Lamar, which is owned by the city of Lamar. And he would vent his frustrations to me about people who were elected to office and knew nothing about running a power plant, telling him how to do his job. So I would tend to think that, even though, like I said, it's a difference of $22,000, that comes out to $2,000 a year, and if it's going to potentially last longer, but more importantly, allow us to do our job, which may end up saving us money as far as future repairs and everything like that, like when you'll be talking to us later as far as repairs, how they can come up emergently. I would have to think along these lines, but then again, I don't know near as much as the mayor does about this part of the city functioning.
I just, but it isn't 22. It's at least, not having the exact numbers, it's at least 30. So, not that that's a big deal. I mean, that.
That's great.
Well, that is
But that, like Ron said.
$30,000, that's a
It
big.
is, it is, that's another vehicle, that's, there's a lot of things, and it,
Well, ultimately, our procurement policy says that we go with the lowest qualified bidder. So we have to look at the qualifications, make sure they met the qualifications. But there's also other things that we can take into consideration. But the idea of the lowest bid is we want to make sure we get the best benefit for the citizens of Fort Morgan. And ultimately, the reason we bring these things back to council is that the charter says anything over $10,000, and how we've written it in the procurement ordinance needs to come to council for pre-approval before purchase. And ultimately, I think council needs to vote on what they think is going to be in the best interests of the citizens and what's going to work best for them based upon that lowest responsible bidder standard. And saving money is an important factor. And $30,000 isn't chump change. And, but you have to look at, I think, the whole picture as well and make a decision based upon what you think is going to be in the best interest for the citizens.
I guess I would like to see the bid specs
Okay.
and see how far off Q's is, because I know we've had Q's cameras in the past. I've purchased them before for the city.
I guess the other thing I can add to it is I can speak for their customer service as well. Actually, the gentleman that does all of the maintenance is here tonight. He's their main maintenance guy. He does all the local repairs, and they're just outside of Denver. So, I mean, they are very local, and they do care. I mean, so we've received very good customer service. They've been down to help us with our current camera system, trying to get it to work in situations where the guy that we bought the camera from originally won't even help us anymore. So I can definitely speak for their customer service as well, and that's another factor that we put into our decision. So we like the system, but then we also really like the customer service. So I can add that too. I mean, but I can definitely
that's an important
provide bid
factor.
specs as well. So
I guess at this point in time, it's not life or death. I would like to look at the bid specs on here. And I mean, $30,000 is a pretty good chunk of money to me.
Yep.
And see what the difference is between the two, and then bring it back for a vote.
Well,
Or you can vote on it right now.
Well, I think that we want to make sure that council has all the information necessary to make the decision and feel good about it. That includes everybody on council. As far as procurement goes, we're looking for the best value, I think, and allowing the mayor and anybody else who wants to look at the bid specs to look at those variations. You're going to be able to see, the best value and make that decision.
Locality is something to consider.
so would you
So you,
recommend we table it to the next council meeting? And have
I
the
would just,
specs?
that would be my,
Do we need to motion that?
well, you do have that option. You can make a motion to table it till the next meeting, or put it off till the next meeting. We can bring it back, and that'd give people an opportunity to look at the bid specs. If that motion failed, and Jason can correct me if I'm wrong, then it would move forward for action on the item that's on the agenda. So the current action that's being contemplated is a motion to move this to the next agenda, giving people additional opportunity to review the information and feel good about what they're voting on. If that doesn't pass, then it would move forward to the decision. And Jason, I think that's very good. Thanks.
I guess
clear as mud.
clear as mud, I would make a motion that we table it until we have a chance to look at the bid specs in the next meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So if you could just get us,
Yeah, I'll-
I would like to see them just to review.
Mhm.
And I will take into consideration the
Yeah, we'll get it into the off-week mailing.
service location. I know these guys are out of Henderson, and
Mhm.
Hughes is out of Florida, but I've had somebody bring this up, and it was a pretty substantial money, so if it was but just so I can take a look at it, do my due diligence for what we're here for, and then we'll get it next
Okay,
council meeting if that works for you.
all right. Okay.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, bud.
And, Your Honor, we'll put that in the off-week mailing
Okay.
for council, so it'll be in the
Put it
off-week packet for you, for everybody to review.
Wanna-
That, yes.
Yes.
Does that work?
Yes.
Next is possible action on bids for a fire rescue truck. Chief Brasco.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. So tonight, I'm a little bit nervous.
I was going to say, we have set the tone, everybody's going to be afraid tonight.
So the fire department's been saving for 4 years now to purchase a new rescue truck. Our current rescue truck is 24 years old, and it was built by SVI out of Loveland. We're essentially outgrowing it, and it's still a good truck that I think we can continue to use in a different manner, but its limitedness on size and the ability to continue to add equipment that we need to do our job. In December, we went out for bid, and we received 5 bids back from Pierce, E1, HME, SVI, and Maintainer Customs. The bids ranged from $406,000 all the way up to $460,000. We looked through the bid specs, and the committee did, and myself as well, and really got into it and determined what truck we wanted to go with. I'll start with Pierce. It didn't meet our specs, our bid specs. One of the main items that we asked for was a multiplex system, which is essentially a centralized computer system that you manage everything from. They didn't put that into their bid specs, but they said they can do it. You just need to add a $16,000 cab and a $10,000 unit. So that put them out above our price range. E1 was out of Florida, and they were $460, and it's above what we were shooting for, because ultimately myself and the committee want to go with the SVI out of Loveland, which was $458,000. They also offered a 50% prepay, which dropped it down to $451,000. Maintainer Custom was the lowest bid, and they're out of Iowa, which is a big concern, because if the truck needs serious maintenance, how am I going to get it there? So to me, it just wasn't a good option, even though it's a large chunk to change, and I'm sorry about that. So it really came down between HME and SVI for us, and the decision was made to go with SVI because HME is out of New Mexico, and according to them, they're working on getting a repair shop in Denver, but as of yet, they don't have one. SVI is local, it's in Loveland. Our current rescue truck is from them. We have another truck that's from them. Their customer service has been great. It's easy enough to get the truck there. But really the biggest item in my mind and the committee's was that SVI's truck, their custom cab truck, and essentially this is what our truck is going to look like. All of them were very similar, but this is a basic picture of it. The custom cab, which is a cab that they build specific, they actually put in a lot more safety features. This truck, according to their bid, has airbags, the steering wheel airbag, has knee airbags for both the front driver and the passenger, plus airbags, side curtain airbags and roof airbags, both front and back. And honestly, that safety measure is something that I don't feel we can pass up. And it's way more. In HME, all they offered was a head and neck airbag that's built into the seat. I would like to see what that's about, but it's not nearly as much as what the SVI truck offered. So our committee and myself agreed that we would like to recommend to purchase the truck from SVI for the $451,000 that's a 50% prepay, as well as ask for up to $500,000 for miscellaneous. So we're asking for $500,000. The extra money that I'm asking for is for miscellaneous equipment. First of all, you get the truck, but now you need to put the communication radio in it, the 800 megahertz radio. That's going to be $6,000. One of the other safety features I want to put into the truck is it's a communication system for everybody. So everybody would actually have headphones on. If you go to any of the big departments, all their trucks have it. And it's one of the NFPA standards for noise prevention to protect your hearing, because inside that truck you're essentially sitting on top of the engine. So it's a concern for me. So it's one of those things that I wanted to add, and that's another $9,000, I believe. So with that, there's also going to be, when we get into the actually designing the truck, there's potentially some different trays we want to put in, an additional tray here or there. So I'm asking for the $500,000 to offset, just in case. There's no guarantee what we're going to run into, but that's why I'm asking for the $500,000, which is $48,000 more than the truck. Do you have any questions for me?
Chump change, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I just make a quick statement, I guess on the chief's behalf. $500,000 is a lot of money, but one of the things that the fire department does really well is they plan for these things. We save up over time, make sure that they have the money they need, not coming when things are broken down and have to be replaced. And we have a great volunteer firefighting group, and they probably save us at least $500,000 a year in payroll. So I think, when you look at the service that they provide and the equipment that they are asking for,
So for the,
it's chump change, I guess, like you said, Mayor.
no, it's not. I was being-
I'm just kidding.
So we have the funds to prepay it,
Yes, we do.
Jeannie? Okay, because we've been saving for this for the last 4 or 5 years, putting money away.
We had $600,000 set aside.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be this, and you did come in, so it'll actually be $151,000 if we prepay it, correct?
Yes,
50%.
50% dropped it down to $451,851.
I thought I read that right. So with that, if we're prepaying it, that knocks it down to be one of the lower in line with the bids. So, and I know with the fire truck incident they had, Frederick or over in that area, safety airbags and that are a big concern, and you guys do an awful lot for the community. I appreciate the time and effort and the volunteer hours you put in for our community, and as Jeff said, you do save us a lot with our ISO ratings, and haven't seen this many of you here in a while, so I commend you all for what you do and that. But
I, for one, agree with Ron. Safety is paramount for you guys on the interstate, them side airbags, absolutely. That will cost there.
does anybody have any comments or questions?
So we currently have a truck.
Correct.
What happens with that truck? Not that that's necessarily completely relevant, but what happens to that truck? Does it go over to be part of rural?
That truck, our
What happened to it?
Our current rescue truck, we're planning on keeping it in Station 1 and moving a majority of that equipment off to the new truck. But right now, all of our hazmat equipment and supplies are in Station 2 in an enclosed trailer, which when we have those type of incidents, it's okay, now we're on scene, oh my gosh, we need all this. Somebody's going to go get that trailer. So what we plan to do as a department is, once we have the new truck in place, then we'll move a majority of that hazmat equipment into the current rescue truck, and it'll be at Station 1, ready to roll. That truck will also go out on traffic accidents as a secondary use, directing traffic, protecting the firemen, and sit down 2 miles down the road and slow traffic down, or try to at least. But that's what we plan to do with it.
Yeah, I just think that's, it's always good to know what we're doing with what we're replacing, and I think that's good.
Well, and I think they'd give us chump change for a trade.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I did ask.
Repurposing it, we're probably a lot better off.
I
You
did
could get better
ask,
at
and
the scrap metal yard, probably, right?
they said $8,000. They said
really?
$8,000 to $12,000 depending on the truck. That's what they would
Said,
give.
no, thank you. We'll just keep
We
it.
can get a lot better
We
use
can
out of it.
repurpose it. If there's any other comments or questions, I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I would offer a resolution accepting the bid for a fire rescue truck from SVI in the amount not to exceed $500,000.
Second.
Sorry, it wasn't quite as,
I have a resolution by Lisa Northrup and a second by Clint Anderson, vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
when will we, when do you think we will have it?
It's a 400-day build, so
Next
we'll get
year.
this ordered, and so it's going to be next summer.
Tell them to build faster
Hopefully faster, but if not, well, we'll live with it.
when it gets here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
The firemen.
Next, we have a presentation and possible action on bids for the street building, wall, and roof repair. Mr. Glanmeyer.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. What you have in your packet tonight is a project that was on my desk when I first started here. I'm finally getting around to this one. The streets building, which is right next door here, was damaged in June of 2015 by an employee ran into the building and caused some damage to the wall. And that actually buckled the roof. And then a year later, we had a windstorm that caught that buckling of the roof and actually damaged the roof. So we're just now finally to a point where we can repair both of those items. We did ask CIRSA, our insurance carrier, to come in and actually do an assessment and inspection of those damages. They did come in with some experts and provided us with some reports and actually paid a claim on these items. And so we've had that money and outstanding, so it's time to get these things repaired. I worked with CIRSA and created a list of repair items that are listed in your memo there. We did bid the project out this January. We had 6 contractors attend our pre-bid meeting, and unfortunately we only had 1 contractor actually bid on the project. We were a little disappointed not to get more bids, but the bid we did receive from Brasby Construction Corporation is less than the damage claim that we received from CIRSA. And Brasby also asked if they could bid an alternate on the roof system from what CIRSA had recommended. We did review that in detail and actually think that's a pretty good roof system for this building. It's probably a building that if we do move to a new city complex or campus in the near future, would be a building that we would no longer need. So I think this roof system that this alternate that they have suggested and bid for us tonight will last well past the time frame that we would need before we'd move into the new city campus if we do pursue that. So we're recommending that we would enter into contract with Brasby Construction Corporation in the amount of $67,185 to complete these repairs. I will tell you that the bid, as it was specified by CIRSA from Brasby, was actually less than what CIRSA had estimated as well. So we're pretty confident that they can do the work. I've talked with our building official and building inspector, and they're both very happy with this company and confident that they'll get the project done for us for this amount. So we would ask your approval to accept this proposal, and we'll get contracts rolling. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
When would work start, obviously, probably when it's,
Yeah, we didn't
Warm.
sit down specifically and go through a schedule, but I would anticipate they're ready to start. So as soon as we can get contracts all signed and paperwork all taken care of, I think that work would begin immediately after that was done.
it's nice to see it be a local company,
Yep.
supporting local business.
Any other questions?
Not
Not,
for me.
I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I would offer a resolution accepting the bid from Brasby Construction Corporation in an amount of $67,185 to complete the streets, wall, and roof repair project.
Second it?
We have a resolution by Lisa Northrup and a second by Doug Sashow. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much.
And it's you again.
Steve Show.
Stay up there.
Next, we have a presentation and possible action on bids for engineering services for road design on North State Street. Mr. Gleimeyer.
Okay, good evening. What you have in your packet here tonight is a project that involves designing the extension of State Street north of Riverview Avenue. Currently, there's a road in there. It goes into the old Fort Park and the tennis courts and the old bike, what do they call those? Bike park, yeah, and get you into Arby's and some of those hotels on the west side. That road is not really built to our standard. As you know, we're working with a developer to come in and actually develop a new hotel on the site where the park is and the bike park and the tennis courts and all of that. And so as part of that project, we really want to come in and actually build a road infrastructure that'll service that new business and get traffic in and out in a more efficient manner than what we really have there. We'll put a cul-de-sac at the end of that road so the fire department can get in and turn around, and trash truck and various other large trucks and things as they're going in and out. So we did work with staff to bid this project, and we did have 6 engineering firms provide us with proposals. We spent a lot of time looking at those. I was actually surprised at the amount of money it's taking to do this. I didn't expect it to be this expensive, but you know, with 6 proposals, 4 of them were all right with in each other a few $1,000s. So it's the right amount, there's no doubt. It just caught me a little off guard. We are recommending the lowest qualified bidder for this project, Bohannon Houston. We've worked with them. They're currently helping us with the Centerpoint Plaza project, so we're really happy with the work that they do. They're definitely qualified to take care of this project for us. We're asking for approval to award up to $41,350. Their proposal did include some additional components to help us with assistance in bidding the construction and actually managing the construction should we need that. I'm not sure I will. It just depends on the timing. We're pretty busy this summer with road projects and other things. If I have the time, I'll manage that and save that $11,400. I'm just not sure what my schedule's going to be and my workload, but I'll do everything I can to try to keep that cost out of there if I can, and just manage that construction internally. But if not, we'll have the ability to do that if you'll award that tonight. So we're asking for a approval to accept this proposal from Bohannon Houston for a not-to-exceed amount of $41,350. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for?
That's about 100 yards, right?
Yeah, it's about 350 feet plus or minus. That's why I was sort of shocked at the cost, but there is quite a little bit of work in there. We're also fixing a sewer line that transverses there. Brent's got some sharp bends in there, and so we just wanted to take care of that while we're in there, and that's a problem area for us. So this will help with some of that design, and we'll fix that as well. So.
Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't even realize that's a road.
Right. I didn't know
They
it was
just
a road.
think it's a parking lot that people drive through to get to Arby's.
Yeah.
So,
This will be a nice road, curb gutter sidewalk, real nice cul-de-sac at the end. It's going to look really sharp, and then with the new hotel, I mean, it just freshens that whole north area up there. So.
Okay. I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I offer resolution to approve the proposal from Bohannon Houston for $41,350 to complete the design of North State Street.
second?
I have a resolution by Allison Howe and a second by Lisa Northrup. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Next, we have a presentation on a memorandum of understanding and a request for in-kind services for Mustang Baseball. Mr. Hammer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Excuse me. In your packet, you should have a copy of the MOU with Mustang Baseball.
Yep.
Mustang Baseball is a competitive league that organizes league play and tournament play for youth from ages 9 all the way into high school. They really put in 2 different event applications. They have a tournament that they host, the Platte River Ruckus, and then they have regular game days and practice days. Also, with the MOU, there's one change from last year. In the past, there's always been a flat fee that Mustang Baseball has paid of $500. The big change this year, they will be reimbursing us $35 per kid. So we're estimating there'll be about 48 kids in the age groups that use city facilities. So along with the MOU, you should have a memo that kind of outlines the estimated in-kind donations as well as the estimated amount of reimbursement. I think the difference is about $1,280, which is what I'm estimating the in-kind will be. That's even considering the lights and everything. So staff kind of recommends that you approve this MOU and approve the in-kind donations. And we appreciate what Mr. Langford does and Mustang Baseball. My son's been a big part of it ever since he's moved here, and they're doing a great job. So we want to continue that relationship.
Questions or comments?
This is related, but how far are we on revising all of our in-kind donations for nonprofits? I know we've been talking about it for a few months, and
We're in process.
okay.
I think that's something we'll bring back to council probably this summer.
So we don't have anything formal, then we can't rely on that to help guide any of these decisions?
Right.
just- Okay. So, yeah.
And generally, this is what this same kind of standard setup is what we did with the Marlins when we were trying to figure out what to do with them. So it kind of follows what we've done with other similar youth recreational organizations.
Yeah, the change I love that we discussed last year was just having the players pay the same fee that we expect any rec player.
Right, that's the idea,
To
and it'll
pay,
help
yeah.
cover, field costs for tournament as well as for lining for games and so forth, so.
Makes
I didn't include the entire in-kind checklist. I think I have it in my folder if you have specific questions. I tried to summarize the costs involved.
So, yeah, thanks for including that. That was my ask. Yeah, so.
And Mr. Langford's here if you have any questions for him. He's
Is Mustang Baseball still at 304 Cheyenne?
323 Apache.
There we go.
I knew you moved around the corner. We probably need to change that in the resolution then. Because it's listed as 304 Cheyenne.
Post office would have forwarded your mail. No.
No, he's around the corner.
So, nope. Return to sender.
Well, you know, one of the things that we have discussed for several years as it relates to youth baseball is how do we revive the city's recreational offerings. And I know there are certain things that we don't provide in the recreation department that Mustang Baseball provides, and there's also some overlap. And one of the things that, you know, I think in working with Mustang Baseball, trying to figure out how can we bring back some more recreational opportunities for all of the kids to play baseball within the community, because I know it's an important opportunity in the summer when kids are out of school to be busy and do different things, and hopefully we'll be able to make our program a little bit better as well. So.
Okay. What was your address again, Josh? 323 Apache. So I would entertain a resolution if there's no other comments.
Your Honor, I would offer a resolution accepting the memorandum of understanding and request for in-kind services for Mustang Baseball with the modification in the agreement to state 323 Apache in place of 304 Cheyenne Street.
Second?
I have a resolution by Lisa Northrup, a second by Allison Howe. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Coaches, parents, kids, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Glenmeyer's back.
Back again. Mr. Glenmeyer Show.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a public hearing to consider an application for a special use permit to allow Calvary University to operate a college in a transitional zoning in the old middle school building at 300 Dual Street. This is a public hearing. Please keep public comment to the issues before the council. Each speaker is asked to limit comments time to 3 minutes unless a speaker represents a group of citizens, in which event additional time may be allocated. Please respect these limitations. I reserve the right to limit public comment that is inappropriate under these guidelines or otherwise improper. I also reserve the right to limit testimony and questioning that is repetitive, cumulative, argumentative, or not pertinent to the issues, and to set a limit on the duration of testimony if I determine it necessary in the light of the number of people who have signed up to testify. First is the issue of legal notice. Mr. Brennan, was it properly noticed?
Yes, Your Honor, a legal notice of this public hearing appeared in the Fort Morgan Times on January 18th.
Next is a presentation of the application. Mr. Glenmeyer.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. What council has in their packet tonight is a consideration for a special use permit to allow Calvary University to operate a college at the old middle school. May seem a little strange that we have a school that needs to come in and ask for a special use permit to operate a school. The difference in our zoning code in the transitional zone, and that while it allows a secondary school to operate as a use by right, vocational schools or colleges require a special use permit. So that's why you have this before you tonight. Staff did look at all of the criteria and felt that this was a case that we would take forward to the Planning Commission. We did forward that on to the Planning Commission, and they did have a public meeting at their meeting on January 22nd. We did at that meeting receive one comment in favor of the application. No comments have been received since that meeting for or against this case before you tonight. Planning Commission did hear the case and did recommend approval of this special use permit to the City Council for your consideration tonight. In the land use code, and I've included this in your packet, there's specific criteria for approving cases of this nature. There are 6 criteria. I won't articulate those to you, but City Council should base your decision on those criteria. We did review those criteria, reviewed the application, and do find that the university would have very few impacts on the adjacent properties, in our opinion, and do find that we would recommend approval of this case before this body tonight. So with that, your review and approval, we would recommend that it would have one condition, that this special use would run in perpetuity so long as this was operated as a college. This protects our applicant that they can continue to operate this so long as they operate it as they say, for as long as that they would wish. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I do know we have several representatives from the applicant here tonight, and they may want to offer some testimony, but we're pretty excited about this project and would like to see it move forward, so.
I love the word perpetuity.
Forever
Any
and ever.
questions of Mr. Glanmeyer?
Steve, can you help me find the comment from the Planning Commission? It just says, no further comments other than the one voice at the Planning Commission meeting. Is that, am I not scrolling the right way?
Yeah, so
Or is it
under
in
the.
favor or against, or I just,
It was in favor of the
Okay.
project, yes. Under the summary section of my memo, this case was reviewed in a public meeting. There was one comment in favor of the permit at that meeting.
cool. Thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else?
Exciting.
Yeah.
Seeing none. Next, we'll hear comments from the applicant, if any. Does the applicant wish to address council? Anybody that comes up to speak, I would ask that you sign in with your name and address on the clipboard next to there, so we have a record for Mr. Brennan.
Your Honor and Counsel, my name is Jeff Campa, representing Calvary University. If I may just introduce my wife, Amy, our university president, Dr. Christopher Cohn, and his daughter, Kara, and then Mr. Bill George, who is our Associate Vice President of Enrollment Management, representing the university today. We thank you very much for your consideration of this and appreciate the interaction we've had so far with the school district and with Mr. Glanmeyer's office in preparing this presentation before you. Just if I can address any of your questions. If not, I'll get out of the way.
Any questions for Mr. Campa?
What's the campus size at your main campus?
By student body?
Yeah.
We're just shy of 350 students.
Mhm.
It's a mix of resident that live on campus, commuter, and some online students as well.
Cool. And what's your vision for the campus here in Fort Morgan?
How much time did you say I have?
As much
We got
as
a
you want
timer.
if we keep
There we go.
asking you
There we go.
questions.
Yes, that's a great question. Our vision is to utilize this as much as we can, primarily as a college campus from our side, offering both resident and commuter opportunities for students. All of our programs would remain online as well for those that would choose not to move or commute. Your packet includes a description of secondary opportunities, primarily on second floor, but kind of the expansion of that in summary is really to maintain the use of that facility concurrently with our use as university, but to maintain that as a hub of the community activity that it has been for several years. So there's still some things and some hoops to jump through to make that happen, and a little bit more interaction we're seeking from the community as we define what that looks like and the best way to do that. But that's to concurrently operate university opportunities here for students, as well as utilize that facility to support the community as it has for a while. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
And you guys are a 4-year degree?
We have a few certificates, 2-year associates, 4-year bachelors, and then 2- and 4-year master's programs as well, currently.
Are we going to have plenty of room for parking?
Short answer, yes.
Okay.
And Mr. Glanmeyer and I are looking forward to some opportunities on the dual street side to expand that as well. But that's a great question. Thank you.
Are there any plans, I noticed I'd read something somewhere, plans that will have a potential on some courses in conjunction with MCC?
Yes, we actually had a second meeting with MCC
them?
this morning for just shy of 2 hours to collaborate and support them and integrate some programs as well.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Anybody else?
It's an exciting thing for a building that had the potential that could have, sat and until we could find a good use for it. So to have it reused as a university is just exceptional for our community, so.
It's
We're
a cool
excited.
building. It's a really cool building, so.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear public comment. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak on this issue, whether for or against. Thank you. Is there any comments from the public for or against?
Mayor, I'd like to say we live across the street there.
Come to the podium and sign in, please.
He's got a sleeping baby. We're going, this was a long meeting.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, we live right across the street on Maple side.
Okay.
And yes, we were, I've been a student at that school and grew up around here. So we're happy to see somebody taking the opportunity to turn it into something good. So, yeah, my name is Mark Kincaid, and
Okay, very
I'm
good.
in favor of that.
Well, thank you. So you're in favor of it?
Yes.
Well, good. I think it is a good utilization of that building and property. I'm excited to see it get off the ground and rolling. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wishes to address council on the issue? Come to the podium, please.
For all the people that are watching at home so they can see
Do I
your
have to sign in here?
Yes, if you would, please.
all the people at home want to see your smiling face and know who you are.
My main concern is my stepdaughter lives directly across the alley from that school. There's been problems with parking in the past. And with the university, the students no doubt will, every one of them have their own car. Do they intend to do something to make a parking facility for that school? Or do we have to put up with them in front of the homes, blocking us off and blocking, in this case, they have actually parked and blocked her car from getting out of her garage. And this is the main concern that we have here with this. If they will take some of that lawn or something, make a parking lot out of it.
Well, and I believe that is part of their vision. I believe that the street that goes through there will be opened up, and that grassy area will become a parking area for that, as opposed to what it used to be, where it was a playground and fields. I think the college students are going to be in the building learning instead of recess. So
Okay.
they are addressing that. So
Jiminy, taking away
Thank you.
recess.
you bet. Thank you. Is there anybody else? There's no one else to speak on this issue. I will ask the clerk if there were any oral or written comments submitted to your office prior to this hearing.
No, Your Honor.
Now we'll proceed to council discussion. Are there any questions from the council or any discussion for the council?
I'd just like to reiterate what we've kind of heard. First of all, wonderful to see the building utilized for education. Secondly, great to have you coming to Fort Morgan to be able to extend this opportunity to citizens here or people that want to come to Fort Morgan for their education along those lines and everything. So, like I said, I'm just really excited about it. The other thing that I had not heard about that I noticed in the packet and everything is that in the future you envision even using the third floor for residential area for students and everything. So like I said, I was just thoroughly pleased, still am with the whole thing. So I mean, that school has been such a part of our community and so long standing.
Yep.
And everything, to be able to see it again be utilized for education as opposed to trying to figure out how to tear it down. I'm tickled pink.
I would concur with your sentiments. I think it's a perfect use for that building, and as it goes through, I would welcome you to the community, when and if it passes. I won't put the cart before the horse. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close or continue the public hearing.
Your Honor, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
I have a motion by Allison Howe and a second by Lisa Northrup. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council action, Mr. Myers.
All right. Steve did a great job in his memo of putting forth the criteria for City Council to consider on this. Those are the criteria. None of them are requirements, but these are the criteria that you go through to evaluate whether or not this use should be permitted. I won't read through those 6 requirements unless you'd like me to. Otherwise, using those criteria to make your decision to approve, deny, or if you feel you need additional information, you can continue the hearing.
I would entertain a resolution on the special use permit, either approving or denying.
Your Honor, I would offer a resolution for conditional approval of case number 18-005 SU, a special use permit for Calvary University, subject to the following: that the special use runs with the land in perpetuity for as long as it is operated as a college.
Second?
I have a resolution by Lisa Northrup and a second by Allison Howe. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Welcome to the community. Okay, next on the agenda is a public hearing for consideration of a preliminary plat for Center Point Plaza major subdivision. This is a public hearing, and the same rules and requirements from the previous public hearing will be enforced. Unless everybody would like to hear me read them a second time.
I would like to hear you read that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Brennan, was the issue of the legal notice properly noticed?
Yes, Your Honor, a legal notice of this public hearing appeared in the Fort Morgan Times on January 18th.
Next is a presentation of the application. Mr. Glanmeyer.
Okay, thank you. What council has in their packet before them tonight for consideration is a preliminary plat of a major subdivision. As you are aware, the city owns just under 100 acres. It's 99.282 acres of land. The city is the applicant in this case, and if I was you, I would really grill the applicant's representative tonight. I think there's probably a lot you could gain from that. This is to replat the Fort Morgan Farms No. 2 annexation, and it will replat this into additional rights-of-way, creating some street areas where we can build some roads in and out, various easements for utilities and stormwater, and then 7 initial lots through the major subdivision process. We also have, as the developer, applied for and received a highway access permit for a new intersection with US 34. This will be Saunders Road extended to the south from 34. So we did receive approval of that access permit and have that. So we've begun design on that intersection as we speak. So if this gets approved tonight, we'll start building some roads very soon. There are several roads that will be built. I talked about Saunders Road. We're also constructing East Beaver Avenue. It'll go east and west the entire length of the development. It'll intersect this new Saunders Road that will eventually tie into Railroad Avenue. And then we have a short stretch of Linda Street that will be extended to the north, and it'll actually turn and head to the east, and that's an extension of Bijou Avenue. This will create access frontage for these 7 lots that we've talked about. We actually have a developer that's interested in one of these lots, so we're pretty excited to move this preliminary plat forward. You're going to see this as a final plat very soon as we move this process forward. All of the applicable requirements have been met by the applicant. And as of the date of this memo, we have not received any comments for or against on this item. So in that we find all of the applicable requirements have been met, we would recommend this case for approval. This did go before the Planning Commission and did receive approval from them, and they recommended it to you as well tonight. So I'd be happy to answer any questions before you grill your applicant.
We'll save it for the next one. Does anybody have any questions regarding this?
I like that our applicant has a sense of humor.
We're not done grilling him yet. Well, next is comments by the applicant.
Mr. Wells, did you have any comments you'd like to make on this
I've got
item?
lots of comments.
I flipped the deal.
You did already? Okay, well.
And I told you to 3 minutes.
I'll give a silent pause to give me, anyway. Anyways, the application is part of an overall development scheme that City Council approved several years ago. We are working to put together some available property for construction of potential future facilities for the city as well as businesses. We already have businesses that are ready to contract and purchase some of that property for future business development in the near future. And this is just another step in that process to get us to a point where we have sellable lots for these businesses that want to develop in that area. We do have all the final paperwork from CDOT to go ahead and start that construction along Highway 34, and long-term, we believe that that's going to be a very nice addition for the economic development and community, I guess, just the community status in that area. We as the applicant, highly recommend and request that council take the recommendation from the Planning Commission. I still have a minute and a half, but I think I'll reserve that for any questions.
Okay, so duly noted. Next, we'll hear any public comments. No? Seeing none, I would ask if there's no one else to speak on this issue, and ask the city clerk, were there any oral or written comments submitted prior to this hearing?
No, Your Honor.
We'll now proceed to the council discussion. Is there any questions from the council or discussion regarding this? Applicants?
When will we start? If this gets approved, when would we start with the road construction?
We're anticipating that work will happen this year. We did budget money to do that this year, and so my guess is as soon as spring breaks, we'll have all kinds of work going on. Lots of street repairs, a new North State Street, a new Saunders Road. We're going to be busy.
Awesome.
Very good. Does anybody else have any comments or discussion? If there's no other discussion by council, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Your Honor, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion by Lisa Northrup and a second by Clint Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council action, Mr. Myers.
All right, so the preliminary plat portion of the major subdivisions out in the code, I brought it with me in case you'd like to review it. These are the requirements that staff reviews to make sure that this application is complete. City Council's process is to ensure that the preliminary plat meets with your expectations per the code, and also that that would meet with your expectations for that area and how it's being subdivided, or how it's being proposed to be subdivided. So that's how you should base your decision on tonight.
Should we all recuse ourselves since we are applicants?
No, you're
No,
good.
we can't.
Unless
I
you're,
don't think you can do
unless
that.
there's anyone on council making money off of this deal, personally.
I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I offer a resolution to accept the application for preliminary plat for CenterPoint Plaza property case 18-004 SD.
Second.
I have a resolution by Allison Howe and a second by Lisa Northrup. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Go build roads, Mr. Steve.
Oh, he's not done yet.
First reading of possible actions on an ordinance 1204, annexing the Kula property and scheduling a public hearing on an ordinance for February 20th. Mr. Glameyer.
Okay, thank you. This case that you have before you tonight is the annexation of just over 8 acres owned by Bob and Shirley Kula, represented by Colorado Land Company, Mr. Kent Lindell. I don't believe the applicants are here tonight. You all are aware of this because you accepted a petition to annex this property at your meeting on January the 16th. We did take this to the Planning Commission for their consideration and recommendation, and they recommended that you would move this forward. So I won't go into all the details. We're going to have a public hearing on this at the next meeting. I included a lot of information in your packet, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on this item.
Are there any questions from the last one? No? Seeing none? I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I would offer a resolution on ordinance number 1204 on first reading, annexing the Kula property and scheduling a public hearing on the ordinance for February 20th.
Second.
I have a resolution by Lisa Northrup and a second by Doug Sawshow. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Next is the first reading and possible action on ordinance 1205, establishing the zoning for the Kula annexation and schedule a public hearing for an ordinance of February 20th. Mr. Glameyer.
Okay, good evening. So this case is to set a public hearing for the zoning of the property you just set a public hearing on to be annexed. This is the same property owned by Bob and Shirley Kula, represented by Colorado Land Company, Mr. Kent Lindell. As we annex property, we try to just immediately zone that property to fit the needs of the community and the applicant. Staff is recommending industrial zone for this parcel. That's consistent with zoning to the south and meets the needs of the applicant and hopefully future developer. This property is scheduled to develop into a FedEx distribution facility, and that certainly fits within our zoning code for that purpose. I won't go into a lot of detail. I've included all of that in your packet. We will have a public hearing on this item, so I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions regarding the zoning? Nope. Seeing none, I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I would offer a resolution on ordinance number 1205 on first reading, establishing zoning for the Kula annexation and scheduling a public hearing for the ordinance on February 20th.
Second?
I have a resolution by Lisa Northrup and a second by Allison Howe. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Thanks for the pictures.
They're nice.
We like pictures in our packet.
Next, we have first reading and possible action on ordinance 1206, amending the municipal code concerning floodplain hazard mitigation, and schedule a public hearing on the ordinance for February 20th. Mr. Gleimeyer.
Okay, this is the last item for me tonight. What you have before you, I bet you're glad of that.
For us, too.
I was told to make it quick. I'm trying. The Federal Emergency Management Agency recently updated our insurance rate maps, and we have received those. One of the requirements in order to keep up with our National Flood Insurance Program is to change our code to reflect those new maps and dates, and so what you have before you is the ordinance that will do that. Again, we'll have a public hearing on this matter, but we would recommend adoption of the ordinance as presented and set the public hearing. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on this item.
Will we see you on February 20th?
Yes.
Over and over and over again.
I won't be as quick, probably. I'll try.
And this is the one that was set out by FEMA.
Yes.
I would entertain a resolution.
Your Honor, I offer a resolution to accept ordinance 1206, amending the municipal code concerning floodplain hazard mitigation and scheduling the public hearing for this ordinance for February 20th.
Second?
I have a resolution by Allison Howe and a second by Lisa Northrup. Vote by roll call.
That resolution carries unanimously.
All right, thank you all very much.
Steve, I'd just like to say I really do, the things that you bring before us, they seem like we see you a lot in the evening, but it's refreshing to see the things that you're getting done in your short tenure here, so.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And the detail, too. I appreciate the level of detail that you give us
So.
is exactly what we need, and not too much, not too little, so.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate it.
Next is presentation and possible action on a resolution ratifying an emergency expenditure for Beaver Avenue waterline repairs. I was going to say.
Well played, Mr. Well played.
Bringing up the bottom of the inning here, so. Good evening, everybody. What we have tonight is ratification of a expenditure that the mayor granted us earlier in the year when we had the water line issues over by the judicial complex. We got into a situation where we weren't able to isolate the area that we needed to fix without causing severe implications to Cargill and some of our other industrial users. So it kind of left us a little option but to go in and do, it's a line stop process. They go in and actually just stop the flow in the line. So when you drive over there, if you work over there, you notice there's nice 3 big holes in the ground because we tore up several spots to do this. So at the time, it was kind of felt that that was the only thing that we could proceed with in order to get the leak stopped and then get the judicial complex back into having water for the needs of the prisoners and everybody that work in that building too. So the part of it that we couldn't handle with our normal procurement was the actual line stops themselves with the company called Municipal Pipe Services. This is a company the city of Fort Morgan has used in the past for different line stop procedures. So the department was comfortable with using them. When it was all said and done, their total bill was in an amount totaling $22,000 for their services on this job. And so I'm here tonight asking for a resolution ratifying the emergency expenditure for services by Municipal Pipe Services Incorporated, needed repair Beaver Avenue, in an amount not to exceed $22,000.
Well, this is basically so Jeannie can pay the bill.
Yes. or the bill's already been paid. This just keeps Ron from getting into trouble.
How early did you have to wake Ron up?
Is that what it is?
Well,
From getting in trouble.
in Ron's defense, and the mayor's defense, I did have a conversation with one of the county commissioners today who wanted me to thank the staff and city council and everyone for how our staff handled that disaster that they're still trying to clean up and fix. They really appreciated how quick we responded, how we assisted them inside their building, as well as addressing the issues on the outside of the building. And so they were very appreciative and are very appreciative of the quick way that we handled the problem.
In the subarctic temperatures.
In the subarctic
Was-
temperatures
It
for
was-
many, many hours.
Yeah, it was.
That was not warm by any means.
Yep.
I would entertain a resolution, please.
Your Honor, I offer a resolution ratifying the emergency expenditure for services by Municipal Pipe Services to help repair Beaver Avenue water line not to exceed $22,000.
Second?
You're welcome, Mayor.
I have a resolution by Allison Howe and a second by Lisa Northrup. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote by roll call.
Oh, an aye.
That resolution carries unanimously.
Thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Brent.
Whenever you tell us to do something, it's like, okay.
Next, we have public comment and audience participation for things not on the agenda. Is there anybody wishes to address council with any issues not on the agenda? Seeing none. Reports by officials and staff. Mr. Wells?
Thank you, Your Honor. A couple of things. First of all, I would like to announce and introduce our new best and brightest intern, Daniela Cabrera, who's in the audience tonight, is the newest member of our senior staff and will be with us for 2 years, learning how municipalities function and trying to come up with a really good idea on what to write for a thesis. So, some interesting things. Did you want to come and introduce yourself? Do you want her to introduce herself?
She's like, no.
No, not really. Well, she's, yeah, she doesn't complain much about anything. She's just happy to be here.
Yeah.
So, but we're really happy to have her and look forward to her perspective on some of our policies and what we can do to make the city a better place. So,
And I already heard a good thing about you at a community meeting, that you're really an amazing resource for families who need assistance in the billing office. So thank you. I already heard about you. All good. All good.
Welcome aboard.
we also want to remind council that our tours start at the next meeting, no, not the next meeting, but on the 20th. Next week we have a retreat. It'll be at the Hampton Inn, just up on North Main. Planning on starting that around 6 o'clock like we do a regular meeting. That's what we have on the agenda. It's on the 13th at 5 o'clock. Never mind. It's on the 13th at 5 o'clock. I'm trying to get all my dates straight here. So next week, the 13th, 5 o'clock, we'll be at the Hampton Inn Suites for our annual retreat with council to discuss our priorities for the 2019 budget. And I want to remind everybody to get your priorities into John so that we can kind of put that together and get the packet out in a timely manner. And then we'll have we'll start our tour dates on February 20th. We will meet here at 4:15 at City Hall, and we'll all go over and visit the library, museum, rec center, and museum storage facility. Not a lot of people get to see the museum storage facility. It's a very interesting place, a lot of interesting artifacts, and I think you'll really enjoy that if you haven't been over there before. So that's what's going on. Did anybody else have any announcements or? And I think everybody got their 2018 budget. Want to
That's
thank
beautiful.
everybody for helping put that together. So that's all I've got.
Personalized even.
Really? Nice.
Okay. Bids, meetings, and announcements, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Your Honor. The city is currently accepting sealed bids for the fiber network construction project until 4:30 PM on February 12th. 2018 fertilizer product application services until 2:30 PM on February 13th. 2 police patrol vehicles until 3 PM on February 15th. Annual weed control services until 4 PM on February 16th. Golf course triplex mower until 2:45 PM on February 23rd, and 2018 water and sewer underground infrastructure projects until 3 PM on March 8th. Under meetings, the Golf Course Advisory Board is scheduled to meet tomorrow, February 7th at 5:30 PM at Quail Dunes Clubhouse. The City Council retreat will be February 13th at 5 PM in the meeting room at the Hampton Inn. The Airport Advisory Board is scheduled to meet February 14th at noon at the airport. All city offices will be closed for President's Day on Monday, February 19th. And the next City Council regular meeting, which will kick off the tours, will be on February 20th here at City Hall.
Next, we have an executive session for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategies for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators under CRS Section 24-6-4024E. And the following additional details are provided for identification purposes. Purchase of property. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Your Honor, I make a motion to head into executive session.
Second?
I have a motion by Allison Howe and second by Lisa Northrup. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Opposed? We will adjourn to executive session.